Hello, my friends, and welcome to Youth Potential, a channel dedicated to helping young people with mental health problems. I have two books available, 102 Distraction Techniques and Self-Harm to Self-Harmony. Both of these books are only available on Amazon. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hello, my friend Scott here representing Youth Potential. Today we're going to be talking about a self-harm survey that I conducted at the beginning of the month. Roughly 170 people entered this survey. There's a few inconsistencies with the answers where some it was more than 170, it was slightly less than 170, but all in all I'd say a good 90% of the questions were that 170. I conducted this survey just because I wanted to kind of know where we stood in terms of how people behave, and it's interesting to see how people live their lives, and this kind of data is something we can learn from. I think some of the figures really surprised me. Some of them just didn't surprise me in the slightest. But we're going to go through each question. There's about 20 odd questions. We're going to go through, and I'm going to read out the numbers, and I'm just comment a little bit on each one. I did a live stream where I first read out these numbers, and I read them out kind of at the time, so I hadn't looked through them before, so I was reacting to them. But obviously now that I'm doing this video, it's going to be slightly rehearsed, I suppose. But no, I'm gonna read them out, and tell me what you think. Leave comments in the comment section. I really do appreciate the things that you guys say. Like some of your comments are I really appreciate the praise and that you give this channel. But more importantly, it's interesting for me and others that come here to Youth Potential to learn from each other, and essentially that's what this survey is all about. Now, it goes without saying, this survey is about self-harm, so use your noggin. Right, so let's get straight to it. First question: what age did you first self-harm? So 47 people chose self-harmed under the age of 12. 94 people started self-harming between the ages of 12 and 15. 25 people started self-harming between the ages of 16 and 20. And 7 people started self-harming 21 or over. It doesn't really surprise me that the highest kind of age bracket is 12 to 15. I think that's very, very common. Under 12 though, to be honest, that kind of took me by surprise a little bit. 47 people. Again, leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think. So the next question was cutting your first self-harm experience. Now, 58% of people said yes and 42% of people said no. I honestly thought that was going to be a bit higher than that. I thought it was going to be in the kind of 70% range. But no, it was 58% cutting their first self-harm experience. Right, the next question was a multiple choice one. So what was your primary reason for starting? Now, remember the key word there, primary reason for starting. So multiple choice, you had young childhood trauma, bullying, relationships, which meaning, interpersonal or romantic, home life, etc. And the fourth one was something else. Now, 3 people went with young childhood trauma. I honestly thought that would be higher. 27 people said bullying, 45 said relationships, and 61 said something else. If you entered this survey and you're happy to share, if you answered something else and leave the comment, I'd appreciate it, but that's entirely up to you. Next question: have you self-harmed in the last month? 61% of people said yes. The other 39 said no. It's obviously upsetting to, read this kind of data, but, we've got to look at this, we've got to learn as much as we can, we've got to take some sort of positive from this. But yeah, I appreciate everyone's bravery for, doing this. We're all learning together. Next question. Do you have both depression and anxiety? 88% of people said yes and 12% said no. Doesn't surprise me. I think if you're someone who struggles with self-harm, I think, either depression or anxiety, it's going to be present, isn't it? So it doesn't surprise me that most people who filled out this survey have both. Next question. Have you ever felt that your self-harm is inadequate when comparing to someone else? This is the whole baby cut syndrome kind of thing here. We see other people's scars and it can make us feel inadequate because we compare ourselves. 89% said yes. 11% said no. Honestly, that doesn't surprise me. It still saddens me though. I've been guilty of that in the past. I know I speak about, on Youth Potential, I talk about not comparing yourself, but there's always that time that has passed and you've compared yourself. Next question. On average, how many days a week do or did you self-harm? So only 162 people answered this one, but the average answer was 4 days a week. From my experience, that I could easily believe that, because I think I would have been somewhere around there as well. Next question. How did you first hear about self-harm? So four answers. Friends and partner was the first one. Second answer was family and school teachers. Then it was internet and social media, and then elsewhere. So 35 people went with friends or a partner. 10 said family or school teachers. 72 people went with internet and social media, and 50 said elsewhere. Now I think from some of the comments I got, elsewhere, a lot of people kind of just discovered it on their own through experimentation or whatever. But with today's technology, internet and social media being the dominant answer, doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Not at all. Next question. Do you have a friend that self-harms? 67% said yes. 33 said no. So sort of bang on 2/3 there, isn't it? Do you have a relative that self-harms? 29% said yes and 71 said no. So, either it's a hidden thing in the family or maybe, you've got more opportunity to make friends than you have new relatives. So, it doesn't surprise me out of the two that friends is the higher, yes. Next question. Have you purposely looked for triggering self-harm content online? What do you think? 88% said yes, 12% said no. Again, with social media, even back when I was a young teen, we were limited to Google Images and MySpace pretty much, and MSN. But I think we've all been in a dark place and we have gone looking for that, so it doesn't surprise me that it's so high. Next question. How many people know about your self-harm, either past or present? So there are, again, 4 answers. There was 0, 1 to 2, 3 to 9, or 10 or more. 10 people said 0. 40 people said 1 to 2 people. 84 answered 3 to 9. And 34 answered 10 plus. To be honest, I thought 0 was going to be a lot higher, and I'm really glad that it's as low as it is. I mean, there's obviously work to do, but from that, I'm thinking the vast majority of people have got someone to talk to. It's not always the case, but that's what I'm getting from these numbers. Next questions. Do or did you take antidepressants? 56% said yes, 44 said no. So more than half of the people who filled out the survey have been on an antidepressant at one time or another. Next question. Do or did you take antipsychotics? 27% said yes and 73% said no. I think antipsychotics, it's a lot less common to be prescribed those, especially in the UK. Next question. Have you ever self-harmed whilst intoxicated? This one took me a little bit by surprise. 56% of people said yes, 44% said no. I thought it would be lower than that, but obviously not. Next question. Have you ever engaged in self-harm that wasn't cutting? Now, this was a massive landslide victory. It's not that kind of poll. Have you ever engaged in self-harm that wasn't cutting? 94% said yes and 6% said no. I think a lot of us get this impression that cutting is all there is to self-harm. I think social media does paint that picture sometimes, but it really doesn't surprise me that it was as large as it is, because I think most people who have self-harmed have tried many different things out of, frustration, fear and tough times, past trauma. Right, next question. Do you use social media for inspirational or factual mental health or self-harm content, not including my platform? 81% said yes, and I was pleased it was higher. It could obviously be higher. 19% said no. So a lot of you that took part in this survey, you do have multiple platforms that you go to look at their inspirational content, and that's kind of refreshing. Just hopefully over time that number will increase. Next question, and this is more of just a typical demographic kind of thing. Are you non-heterosexual? 62% said yes and 38% said no. A lot of people who aren't heterosexual struggle with their sexual identity. I know at one time I did. Before I knew, for a long time I thought I was straight. Then I worried about being gay, just because of the way the schooling was when I was at school. Bullies didn't make it easy for anyone who was non-heterosexual. And I've had friends over the years, and I've spoken to people who have struggled with their sexual identity, and self-harm has been a part of their journey. Anyway, let's get on. Next question. Has self-harm been a cause for a trip to accident and emergency, or the emergency room if you're abroad? 34% said yes and 66% said no. I suppose in a way that's good. The way that I'm trying to look at it is that people haven't self-harmed to the point where they feel that they need to go to A&E. But I know there's obviously going to be that discrepancy where people try and look after it by themselves, and they should be going to A&E. But there's no right or wrong answer to any of these questions. It's just purely to see where we are. Next question. Have you been a patient on a psychiatric ward? 28% said no and 72% said yes. I think if you filled this out and you live in the UK, it is difficult to be put on a psychiatric ward because they're so full up and understaffed, underpaid, and they try and avoid putting you in there no matter what happens. Right, we're on the last set of questions now. Do or have you listened to music whilst engaging in self-harm? 74% of people said yes, 26% said no. Doesn't surprise me in the slightest. We have such a deep connection with music, and there's always going to be those certain songs that we really, really relate to or connect to. Doesn't surprise me. Next question. How triggering do you find self-harm imagery in television or film when it's unexpected? So rather than watching something that you've seen before and you know what to expect, when it comes out of the blue, when you don't expect it. So 153 people answered this one, and I kind of gave them there was a bar sort of like from not that triggering all the way to triggering, and the average answer was about 55%. So basically, what I realised when answering this question, the average being 55%, so kind of somewhere in the middle, when I broke down the actual answers, everyone was either like really triggered or just kind of not bothered by it. So that's what kind of why we've got an average of 55%. Are you a parent or a full-time carer? 11% said yes, and 89% said no. Again, this was just more of a demographical thing for me to see, to learn more about my followers, kind of what demographics they fall into. Next question, do you have any tattoos that cover scars? Now, 20% said yes and 80% said no. I know some people don't want to cover their scars. Some people aren't old enough to have tattoos yet. Maybe just can't afford tattoos, so take what you will from that one. Second to last question, have you supported someone who self-harms or self-harmed? Now, it was refreshing to find that it was 79% of people had helped someone else who had self-harmed. 21% said no. But again, you know, you've got to take into consideration a lot of people try and keep it to themselves so they don't share that with someone else. And, you know, some people in their lives, they're the only person that they know that self-harmed. So, you know, I'm not looking at that and saying, oh, 21% of people are lazy, because, you know, they might not be in a circumstance where they can't help someone. And the last question, have you used a telephone service, like one of those call chat lines, to talk about self-harm? 27% said yes and 73% said no. Honestly, I'm glad that there's any kind of usage of telephone services, because I know so many people are afraid to use them, and I've only ever used them personally once that I can remember, and it wasn't a particularly great experience. Some people get a lot from them, I personally don't. Right, okay, that was the survey. If you've made it this far into the video, I appreciate you listening to me waffle on. You know, you can take all sorts of things away from this. You know, it's refreshing that so many people took part in this survey, that, you know, it takes you know, a level of faith and confidence to be able to fill out one of these, because they're draining, you know. And I'm sure people who filled this out, this probably wasn't the first time they filled out one of these surveys, because you get these kinds of things, you know, when you are being seen by mental health professionals, you know, like your doctor, GP, whatever. Yeah, there's some things that really surprised me. Like the intoxicated one. That was a high number. But yes, thank you very much everyone for watching this. I do appreciate it. Right, tell me what you think. What surprised you? You know, what didn't surprise you? Leave in the comments below. Take care everyone. Speak soon.